Good day, everybody. This is Robert Hebert. We're still on location. New conversation is about politics, Congress, processes, elections. Let's get into a conversation with my good friend Lee Ackeley.
Hello, Bob.
How you doing, sir? This is nwieducate.com, and I'm your host, Robert. So let's get into this. Today we're going to, this conversation, we're going to talk about what in heck happened when it comes to politics. Everything is now in your face. It seems like more of a high school, he said, she said, oh, I don't want this person doing this because it might damage my reputation. And there's no, in politics today, it seems like it's not about the people, for the people, of the people, by the people. It seems like it's of the senator or of the representative, for the representative. It's not about the people anymore. It's about the individual perspectives and jobs, and everybody's they're not a mission, but everybody's they all have their own agendas, let's say.
Yes.
Let's get into that. What are your thoughts on the way that everything is just in your face? Social media, the news, all of the politicians that they're not dealing with the problems. They're reacting with emotion without the benefit of intellect. They're not coming back in a response. Mm-hmm. And they're not addressing the issues of the people, for the people, but yet they're still making their paychecks. They threaten everybody else's paychecks, but they still make theirs. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think a lot of the problem today, and it keeps going back, and it's an issue I keep hitting on because I think it's so pertinent to almost every issue we discuss, and that's critical thinking. A particular politician, I don't care, Democrat, Republican, Independent, you name it. And by the way, I don't believe there are independents out there.
That's right. Critically thinking, that is.
It doesn't matter. The politician will tell you about his opponent. For instance, Mr. Hebert here believes in XYZ, but I never tell you what I believe.
I do believe in XYZ, yeah.
I never tell you what I believe in or how I'm going to install anything that I do tell you.
Well, as long as you know I'm XYZ, what does it matter what he believes in? That's politics, people.
And the sad part is people will vote for me because I'm against something
that one variable. Instead of looking at the whole picture, it's that one piece. Oh, I'm voting for this guy because his dog's cute. I'm voting for this guy. Remember this? I mean, we've had so many conversations on this. This is why it's so important for us to get this on camera to you guys. We want to create an engaging conversation for self-betterment, self-awareness. People, look at the issues. You don't have to agree with the person. You don't even have to like the person. It's the goal. What is the mission? We're sitting here focusing on whether a person's Democrat or Republican or independent. When we have people that are starving, the vast majority, we have the largest income gap in U.S. history, from poor to rich. We have dwindling infrastructures. Our food supply is going, fresh water supply. We're polluting the earth. And here we're worried about the color of somebody's skin, what religion you are, or hey, you're a Democrat or Republican, I automatically hate you just because. What? What do you think?
Wow.
I'm just getting animated because it's such a hot topic for us.
Well, I think we tolerate politicians who make outrageous claims or promises when if you stop and you think about what they're actually saying, they're almost impossible.
That's right. I'm going to look into a committee, to start a committee, to form a committee, to assess a committee, to maybe open a committee for that resolve.
I'd like to use an example. I don't want to pick on the man, but
let's pick on him. Who?
Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
Ran for the nomination for the Democratic Party and lost.
Mm-hmm.
However, among a lot of his promises or his thoughts were that we have free this, free that, free everything, which is wonderful, except he never told you how he's really going to pay for it all. And that's the crux. You can do a lot, but if the money isn't there or you tax the hell out of everybody,
that's right,
you lose sight.
This is exactly it. It sounds great. There's no critical thinking there because it's easy for me to say, hey everybody, I'm going to get rid of all your home taxes. I'm going to improve your property values. I'm going to make sure everybody gets a paycheck every day for the rest of your life. And of course, you're not telling me. I'm not showing you how I'm going to do it.
Right.
I'm just, it's easy to promise anything. I'm going to pay off your house for you. I know. Vote for me.
And that's part of the problem with today's politics is that people don't think about what's really being said and just say, okay, that's wonderful. I really like the idea. Now, how are we going to do it? If you can't think of a way to do it, I will guarantee you they don't have a way.
Absolutely. See, all we're asking for is to don't take things at face value when it comes to the politicians.
Exactly.
Because you have to think about what's being told to you, what you're being fed. And it's insulting of some of the things that we as Americans, as voters, accept.
The other thing I think in this country is a problem, and this is both parties, is that people will moan and groan on social media or wherever else. They moan and groan about this candidate, this policy, that regulation, whatever it is, and they continually just complain. But if you talk to these people, they do nothing except complain on social media, complain to people in general, but they don't get off their duff.
So they're being seen that they're doing something.
And go down and actually become a part of the local Democrat or Republican Party, your choice, and become a part of it.
You want to make a change, start local.
I mean, and find out what's real, because it all starts from the bottom up. A building is, you put a foundation down on a building first, and you make sure the foundation is solid before you put the house up.
Amen. Everybody wants to go to the roof. Everybody wants to go to the government.
And that's what's happening. You've got people running, and they're trying to run from the 5th floor when the foundation is creepy. And people don't think and say, it sounds good, but there's something that doesn't really sit there. So get involved. Maybe run for a local office.
Amen.
Get involved in the process. You can make a difference.
That's right. Just because somebody offers you a free swim doesn't mean you shouldn't look to make sure there's water still.
Or sharks.
Or sharks, yeah. I mean, this, it's become a society where we're no longer about, I don't see the substance. And that's a scary thing for us, because we are people who truly care about America. We truly care about our neighbors and our friends, and we can't achieve anything if the people who are supposed to be facilitating that change that we elected aren't doing their jobs. But there's no checks and balances anymore, because as Mr. Ackeley just stated, it's just, they're always giving you all of these different things. They say I'm involved because I went out down. If I'm on camera complaining about something, it gives you the perception that I'm taking action when all I've done was sit on camera for 30 seconds complaining about something. There's not actually any substance of doing anything. It's just, this is what people are doing. And we have to be kind. We have to be open and creating unity and working together, regardless whether we're Republican or Democrat or what have you. We need to focus on the goal, which is making our lives better, the American people's lives better. Our government should be facilitating and doing everything they can to improve the day-to-day lives of the American citizen, to develop community, to strengthen the divide in between the church and state, and making sure that the community has everything that they have, and to grow and nurture and be the best that they can be. We should be working in positive. Like, Mr. Ackeley, you look wonderful today. Did you trim your nose hair? You look fantastic. It's just, why have we become, how have we, the informed, intelligent Americans, how have we allowed us to get to this point of reaction versus response in politics today?
Well,
in your opinion,
that's a interesting question.
No, I'm an American. I just want the simple answer. Give me a number one with a Coke. Supersize me, Mr. Ackeley.
That's a complex and a lot more deeper subject. But I'll give you a couple things off the top of my head. One, I think the media, and I say media, I mean the social media, as well as the print media, the radio, television, have actually changed. They're no longer
drastically.
They're no longer reporting the news. They're trying to create the news. And they conveniently, when something happens on a national level, we had a recent event with a press credentials.
Oh, yes.
For the president.
CNN.
And they went to court, and he got it restored. That's fine. I don't have a problem with all that. That's their. But the same thing happened under our former president, and that person was banned completely. We were taken by force off Air Force One because they became argumentative. and they lost their credentials. That was never mentioned in any article, that this is not the first time this has happened. When you ignore one part and only report this, that's bias.
That's extreme bias.
And I'm not saying either one were right, either one were wrong, but they're equal.
That's neutral. But you're absolutely right. So why, this is the kind of, how have we got to this point where instead of reporting intelligent, all-around perspective news, I mean, from all different angles, we're getting to a point, because there are a few things that are happening to Trump that hasn't happened before with past presidents. I mean, it's just, they're going to extreme. During Obama, the Republicans tried to do everything they can to hamper Obama. Now onto this, the Democrats. So we're not cheating. It's not about the people anymore. It's not about progress. It's about winning. And this is the disgusting part, in our opinion, because I think you're 1,000% right.
Well, I'd like to go back to what a point about the press, the media, and all that.
Please, yeah.
Because I think you asked the question, why is this happening? I think what's happened is people read these 30-second blurbs or this article, and they're predisposed to believe certain things, and they take it as gospel, and they spread it around, tell everybody about it, or they repost it, whatever else, without really looking and seeing whether there's some truth to it, or how much of a truth is in it, and whether it's appropriate.
Or I've seen
so it just keeps going.
That's right.
And going and going.
I've seen the news actually take, the conversation that somebody may have had was 10 minutes, but they take the two words that best suit their perspective, and they put it on say he said this, when really it's completely out of context. There was a 10-minute conversation, and then they took a 2-second blurb and posted it on there for their perspective, and then it spread it around as the gospel. Why are we allowing this? It's an insult to your intelligence, and it's an insult to my intelligence.
Well, to be honest with you, Bob, the newspapers and the social media, they're a private concern. They can do what they want. But it's up to the people to be able to realize that what they're getting may or may not be the complete truth or have all the facts. And that's up to us. That's our responsibility as voters, as citizens of this country. It's our responsibility to seek out the truth and act accordingly. If we fail to do that, then shame on us. And if you don't like...
Well, there's an awful lot of shame on us, Mr. Ackeley.
And if you look around and you don't like the politicians you see, go look in the mirror, because you voted for them. I always say, people keep saying we need term limits, which I disagree with, because we already have term limits. It's called an election. Stop voting for the same guy over and over and over, and you have term limits. But that doesn't happen because it's... The story I get is, well, it's not my representative. It's that representative from the next district. Well, I got news for you, folks. It is your representative, everyone. If you don't take responsibility and investigate and vote accordingly, intelligently, then you deserve the government you get.
Well, what you're saying is it's very similar, because we heard this during every election. When Obama became president, people were out there screaming, "He's not my president." When Trump became president, he ain't my president. You're talking about an office, not a person.
Exactly.
And with our Constitution, it's pretty sad when you have stars and people who have public ear.
Celebrities.
Thank you very much. Then you have they have the ear of the general public, and they're sitting out and saying the most ridiculous things. This person is like Whoopi Goldberg, not to mention any names, but she said if Trump won, she'd move. Whoopi, why are you still here, baby? You said you're going to move.
Alec Baldwin said the same thing.
Yeah, why are you still here? Well, the bottom line is that, hey, I didn't vote for the guy either, but he's my president. And if you don't like it, wait till the next election,
Well, and the part of the problem, and I'll mention another name, not in a negative sense, but just because that's Oprah Winfrey.
Okay. That's good.
Well, and I don't see her as negative. But however, she has a following that people, her book of the month, if she came out and said this is a good book, sales went up immensely because she recommended, and people love Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
So now she comes out and she supports the Democratic candidate in Georgia, which ended up being a close race. And I would like to know, realistically, you'll never know, but how many people actually went out and voted for that lady?
Did she win?
Simply on Oprah's support.
I'm sure it was significant. Did she win?
She had to concede. She lost the election. Yes.
And I don't mean to sound in the wrong way, but it's kind of the Democratic Party. If we look at it, it's one of it's the oldest party. Of course, the Republicans were the Whigs before we. The bottom line is that the Democratic Party was the one that fought for slavery to be enforced. They're the ones that fought for taxation on slaves because they're possessions. They fought for, they actually murdered the slaves. They fought for even bills in Congress for the slaves to be returned, even if the North won or the South lost. It didn't matter. They wanted the slaves returned to the plantations. And so to me, I find it just hard to comprehend why any person of color would be a Democrat, because you are literally representing the party that was 100% pro-slavery, 100% all about returning the slaves, killing the slaves, and taxation on the slaves. And you're a member of the party? Do you know your history? Maybe check it out, because that's kind of jocularious that Oprah is a Democrat.
In 1964.
What's going on with that?
In 1964, a lot of the Civil Rights Acts were passed by Congress.
Yeah.
If you examine what happened, that bill would never have passed if it wasn't for the Republican Party. They went to bat and voted because the Democratic Party of the South, which were known as Dixiecrats at that time,
that's right.
They refused to vote for the bill. They basically said no, which left them short. It was the Republicans that put that over the top.
Yeah, the Emancipation Proclamation. We did.
But I don't want to pick on one party.
I'm not. No, I just find it. I don't want to pick on the parties either. But it's just when it comes to why people choose parties, because we're all about informed we're all about informed voters, informed politics. Know what you're voting for. Know why you are where you are. Exactly. Why are you representing the Democratic Party when the Democratic Party, or why are you doing? If you're going to be a Republican, the same thing. Make sure that you understand why you are a Republican. You know, it's just Republicans passed the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed slavery, and we're the ones that passed the 1963
65.
Okay, the human rights. I mean, and it's just the bottom line is that this. I'm not trying to pick on either party in a way, but I'm just trying to say we're talking about being an informed voter, an informed politician. How can you be informed if you don't look at your history of why you're doing what you're doing?
One thing I'd like to see.
Yeah.
I think would help immensely, is I would like to see a constitutional amendment.
Mm-hmm.
It never happened, but that's okay. That goes back to when you go down to register to vote, and I mean down to register. We don't do this by the mail or at the DMV.
We're talking about downtown.
Going downtown to get registered, you have to prove that you can read and that you can comprehend what you read. If you can't do either, I don't think you should be allowed to vote, because you're not an intelligent voter at that point in time. It'll never pass, obviously. It wouldn't pass the Supreme Court muster.
I mean, it should be some kind of intellectual test.
When I first registered at 18, I had to read a passage out of the Constitution and tell them what it meant. I also had to pay.
Is that a bad idea? I don't know. I mean, I don't see it as a bad idea.
No, I also believe that we should establish a national language.
Why, absolutely true.
But that's been tried about 30 times, and it keeps getting voted down. And I won't tell you what party. Look it up. It's a good assignment for you.
There you go. Homework. Hey, this is the only podcast you're going to get homework with. Hey, everybody. Our hopes today is to get you engaged and think and involved. Email us your opinions, your thoughts, your anything to newwindinvest1@gmail.com. Give us a call. Share us your opinions. If we don't answer, just leave a message. We'll get back to you ASAP, which is 352-693-3905. Get involved, people. Subscribe to our podcast at nwieducate.com. Mr. Ackeley, thank you so very much for being here.
Can I call now?
Absolutely. Give us a call. Have a great one, everybody. Thank you.